Duchess. Hang on a minute while I get your bag out. I said hang on. Do as you're told. I'm giving the orders. Now, you're not entering for the Olympics, you know, not this week. Have you got your key? Right. Hospitals are all very well and necessary, but there's no place like home, eh?
Oh, stop nattering on the blooming door, will you?
You are feeling better, aren't you? Where do you want this? In your bedroom?
Yes, that'll do.
Oi! What do you think you're doing?
I'm making a cup of tea if it's all right.
What's that?
A chair, what do you think it is?
Well, go and sit in it. I didn't slave to get my butler's diploma to have you doing me out of a job.
And where did you learn to be bossy?
From you, Duchess.
Feel all right in myself, it's just my legs that feel a bit weak.
Yeah, it's being stuck in bed. This time next week you'll be doing the Gay Gordons. Now, is it just a cup of tea, or do you want something to eat as well?
Oh, no, just a cup of tea and a digestive will do very nicely.
Right, then may I suggest a little lie down?
Oh, well, you carry on if you're feeling tired.
There's not much wrong with you, is there?
Well, but I've been telling you all morning.
Still, take it easy, eh? At least for a bit.
You're not a bad lad, are you?
Bit soft in the head, sometimes. Especially at school. I did go to school, you know.
Oh, education isn't everything. Look at Winston Churchill, he was never head of his class any road.
Lax application, that's what they used to put on my report. That and sarky comments about how many times I'd been absent. Still, they were right though, weren't they? I mean, if I'd have had any application, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Which means you would have made money.
Well, that's what it's about, isn't it? All the mates I knew at school have all got their own house, car, wife, kids, the lot. Me? Nothing. Still, that's me, Duchess. Born of nothing, living of nothing. I'm more than likely die of nothing and all.
You may be short on the material things of this life, Eddie Yates, but you're not lacking in heart.
Smells good. I said that smells good.
Glad you think so.
Still at it, are we?
What have I said?
You know what the hell I'm talking about. Me coming home with you with a face like a fiddle.
Didn't expect hugs and kisses, did you? You behaved like a pig last night.
Still at it, are we?
You didn't think I'd just forget, did you?
No chance.
Look, Len, I don't go looking for trouble round every corner. That's not my style, and life's too short. But your behaviour last night disgusted me. It's not something I can forgive easily.
I suppose I'm not entitled to a point of view.
You could have talked it over with me quietly, not in front of Terry. And there was no need to go chucking him out in the street the way you did.
I tried talking it over with you all flaming day, and where did it get me? You still did exactly as you wanted.
Oh, so if you'd done what you wanted, it'd been all right.
There's no way that kid could have stopped here. No way. What surprises me is you thought he ever could.
I made the mistake of thinking you had a bit of charity in you.
We've only been married a couple of months, and you want to bring in a stray kid. Harry Bates's kid.
Is that his fault?
Harry Bates is the fella you lived with.
A long, long time ago.
Rita, I may not be the most sensitive fella in the world, but I have got me feelings, you know. I mean, you're not stupid. I don't have to spell it out to you.
So because I had a bit of a thing with the kid's father...
But if you lived with him as his wife...
You never warned me you'd chuck me past up in my face every time I did something you didn't like.
Not. But this is different. It's just not on.
I only asked you to give the kid a bed for a few nights till he found his feet.
Not that kid.
Oh, we're going round in circles. I'm sick up to here with it.
It's one thing we're agreed on anyway.
Where you going?
Pub.
What about your dinner? Which part of the world are you from, then?
Oh, nowhere you'd know.
You name it, I'll know it. I'm a much-travelled lady. Baker, Accrington, Oswald Twistle.
Shall we tell her?
Yeah.
You've heard of the Invaders?
You're never a pop group.
No, from outer space. You know, the Invaders from outer space.
Oh, that.
It's not just on telly, you know. Right, Eric?
Right.
It's real, it's here, it's happening now. Take me to your leader.
I am the leader here.
Oh, no, you're not. I am while the landlady's away. And I'd be very obliged, lovey, if you do a little less chatting and a bit more serving, right?
We're very good friends, really.
Are you married?
No. Are you?
No.
Liar.
Am I married, eh?
No.
Does he ever say more than just one word?
No.
Anyway, what do you want to know if I'm married for?
Oh, for me dossier.
You are?
Me dossier. I always do a dossier on good-looking barmaids. Comes in very handy.
I'll bet.
Next question.
For your dossier.
Ah, that's right, for me dossier. Next question. When's your night off?
Tonight?
Oh, that's encouraging. Don't you reckon, Eric?
Very.
Hey, Bet. Go the same again over here, please.
So you know this Councillor Tattersall, then, do you?
I've had dealings with him, yes. He's not exactly my favourite councillor.
Well, I believe he's not the top of the pops in anybody's list. It doesn't seem to bother him either.
What does he want to see me for, did you say?
No, he doesn't use two words where one will do. He just said he'd call by the community centre this afternoon.
Well, if he's expecting the red flag, you're due for a disappointment.
A little diplomacy might not come amiss.
Well, if you mean crawl, 'cause that man...
That man can make a lot of mischief if he wants to. It's his forte.
Yeah, well, I can't think of any particular skeletons in our local cupboard. Did he hint he was coming to stir up any particular trouble?
No, but then where Councillor Tattersall is, trouble is never far behind.
The age had got nothing to do with it. It could have happened to anybody.
Of course it could.
I just got her down. She'd had trouble with her poor little gums all day. Her little face was as red as fire. And I just got her to sleep.
When the phone rings.
Yes, and I turned round quickly.
And that's when you tripped and fell.
Yes,
Could happen to anyone.
of course it could.
Still, it's all over now. Nobody's blaming you.
What, for doing something good turn? I should hope not.
I'll tell Ray Langton he was lucky it wasn't me. If I'd have took the tumble you did, half his furniture would have been smashed to bits.
Who's that? I don't want any visitors.
Am I on time?
Bang on time, 10 out of 10.
If you've come visiting Emily Bishop, you needn't have bothered. I'm not feeling up to callers yet.
Oh, I'm not a visitor, Mrs. Sharples. I'm one of Eddie's team.
Team? What team?
I brought a little something tasty for your tea. Warm it up on a medium light for about half an hour. It is cooked through.
What team?
Isn't that nice of Mrs. Bishop, Duchess? You know, I mean, better than beans on toast, what you'd have got off me.
Eddie, what team?
Oh, he's organised it terribly well, Mrs. Sharples. One of the neighbours is going to pop in throughout the day. There'll always be someone here to make sure you're all right.
All your friends rallying round, you know. Just the same as you'd do for them if they was in need.
I'm not in need of anything. Thank you very much, both of you. All I want is a little peace and quiet, on my own, in my own home. So I would be very much obliged if you'd leave, both of you.
But, Duchess, you're only just out of hospital.
Now,
Someone's got to keep an eye on you.
good afternoon.
Come on, Mrs. Bishop. Some people you just can't help.
Aren't you forgetting something, Emily Bishop?
Oh, sorry.
Don't mind taking your food until I can do a bit of buying in. But I'm not an invalid.
I suppose I don't need to ask why you didn't come into work today.
No, there's no need to say I told you so either.
Wasn't going to. Look, can I help?
You don't listen to reason, you know. I mean, I knew he were a stubborn man when I married him, but...
Well, that was one of his attractions.
Was it?
Oh, Rita. You could never have fallen in love with a doormat, a man who'd let you walk all over him, not you.
Plenty of women do. They prefer fellas they can twist round the little finger.
But not you. I'm not saying you want to be bossed about, but you want it 50-50, like any intelligent woman would. And that's what you've got.
So I've got the perfect arrangement. So why am I not flaming happy?
Because you don't know when to give in.
You have to stick up for what you think's right, even you.
But he thinks he's right, too, Mr. Fairclough.
You think he's right and all, don't you?
Oh, yes, I do. I mean, I can quite understand him not wanting Terry here, I mean, particularly in view
Who
of...
his father is. That point has been made several times.
Well, you can't have made things any better by letting him think that you told Terry to go when you hadn't.
Could have handled it a bit more tactful, I must admit.
You know, makes me laugh.
Well, I'm glad I'm cheering somebody up. Why?
Well, me giving you advice on how to handle men.
No, it's a case that onlookers can see him most at game, isn't it? Anyway, you're not daft, love.
Well, you often go on as if I am.
Well, it's only 'cause I like teasing you. Adds a bit of spice to life, taking the mickey.
Yeah, but not when you hurt people.
I wouldn't hurt you.
I wasn't thinking about me.
I wouldn't hurt Len either. I still think he's wrong over Terry, but I love him. I wouldn't hurt him.
Well, you say that, but you have, haven't you?
Only his pride.
No, Rita, more than his pride. You've only been married to him 5 minutes and already you've put somebody else before him. I mean, how important do you think that makes him feel to you? Oh, look, Rita, I understand how you feel about Terry, but... Well, Mr. Fairclough is your husband, and you've got to get your priorities right.
I'm not taking sides, mate.
No one's asking you to.
Well, I get no thanks if I did. All I'm trying to say is it worth it? I mean, you're stuck here, miserable as sin, when you'd rather be at home with your feet under your own table. I'd have thought you'd had enough of these pie and pint lunches to last your lifetime.
So you think I should put me belly before me principles?
It's not just your dinner you're missing, is it? It's Rita and all. And I bet my bottom dollar she feels the same way.
Then why the hell doesn't she come round to my way of thinking?
Because you upset her. I know, she upset you and all. But you can't go on like this indefinitely, you know. One of you's got to hold out the olive branch. Or better still, a bunch of flowers.
I can't see Rita buying a bunch of flowers. Tell me something, Alfred, as someone who's so much older and wiser than me.
I don't know about older.
Why is it always got to be the fella?
Well, who gives in? Just seems that way.
Because it is that way.
All right, so Bucket, you stand on your principles. You know just where it's going to get you, don't you?
More of what I've already got.
Right.
Look. Oh, see you.
I could just possibly arrange to be free, I suppose.
Give them the right reasons.
Of course.
Night on the town with two big spenders who are witty, charming, and kind to the mother, so you'll be in no danger.
You just had to spoil it, didn't you?
Just for the first couple of hours, any road. Right, Eric?
Right.
Will he be coming as well?
We go everywhere together.
Siamese twins.
Of course, if...
Wait for it. I think he's going to say a whole sentence.
Of course, if you had a mate, there'd be no problem, would there?
A mate?
Right. Have you got a mate?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I have.
Nice.
Not bad. Not as ravishing as me, of course.
Who is?
Very few.
Hey, Bet Lynch, I'll not tell you again. Will you come and give us a hand?
See you later, then.
Shouldn't we have something better to do?
We haven't, have we?
Right, Reen. Shut shop early, run yourself back full of foam bubbles and iron your best frock.
Why, who's coming?
Nobody's coming. We're going out with two fellas.
36p, please. Oh, thanks. Thanks.
Which two fellas? Talk about fussy. Have you never heard the saying about never look a gift horse in his wallet?
Ah, that's the catch, is it? Mine has 4 legs.
No, he hasn't. They are two big spenders who are witty and charming and kind to their mothers.
Their description, I take it.
Well, you've got to trust somebody sometime.
Where are you going?
To wash me hair, to make myself look irresistible.
Oh, so I take it you've decided to trust them then?
I'm a very trusting girl. Besides, I've got a dead sharp hat pin.
Yes, Mr. Tatlock.
I want
Mr. Tatlock? It is Mr. Tatlock, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, I saw you leaving the centre. Tattersall. Councillor Tattersall. I wonder if I could have a word with you.
Yes, if you'll just excuse me 1 minute.
It's all right if you want to talk privately. I've something to see Bet for anyway. Won't be a tick.
All right. Well, sir, what can I do for you?
Well, I understand Mrs. Williamson phoned you the other day.
Who? Oh, her from Town Hall. Ah, she did.
She was trying to arrange for coffee and biscuits to be laid on for next week's visit.
Yeah, and I told her it couldn't be done.
But it's usual to arrange hospitality for the annual weekend inspection. I mean, the committee have a very arduous schedule.
Yes, well, the committee will have to get the refreshments at the next port of call, won't they? I explained all that to Mrs. Stingerby Bob.
Yes, but it's part of your duty to provide such services as may be necessary, as well you know.
No, not my duty. No, I'm only the deputy caretaker. Mrs. Sharples is in charge of refreshments.
Then tell her to get the refreshments.
But she's a very sick woman. She's had a bad accident. She's only just come out of hospital. I explained all that to Mrs. Thingamby Bob. I don't know what she's making such a fuss about sending you round here.
Well, I came because it's hardly a very satisfactory state of affairs, is it? I mean, 2 caretakers.
No, I'm only the deputy.
All right, 1 caretaker, 1 deputy. But neither of you actually seem to do very much when it comes down to it.
Look, I'm not going to have this. There's a lot of work to be done here. And let me tell you, it always gets done. The only thing is, there's a limit to how much I can do myself.
You make it sound as if she doesn't help you very much, even when she is well.
Well, between you and me, she doesn't. But then she's an old woman. She's not fit and strong like I am.
Really?
No. A woman at her age, you know, she's got to take things easy. Whereas I'm an old soldier, and I always pride myself on keeping myself fit.
I see. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Tatlock. You've been a great help to me.
And you'll tell that committee of yours to get the coffee and biscuits somewhere else.
Oh, I don't know about that. But don't you worry. And thanks again.
St. Bin,
What is it?
your dinner.
Oh, well, it's something of the Rovers. I'm not bothered.
Well, if you're not bothered, I'm not. You're the one that pays the housekeeping bills.
Rita, I can't go back to work leaving things like this.
Can't you?
Is that all you're going to say?
I don't know what I'm going to say till I've heard what you say.
I just want us to go back to what we were before.
Before Terry came.
Yeah. I hate atmospheres.
Well, you don't think I spent last night and all this morning laughing my socks off, do you?
I realise that.
Do I take it this is some form of apology?
For some of the things I said last night, yes.
But not for what you did? You still think you're right and I'm wrong?
For heaven's sake, Rita, does it matter? I mean, the kid's gone. You'll be all right. He's a survivor if ever I saw one. But it's you and me I'm concerned about. Let's stop this bickering.
Heaven knows I'd like to.
Well, all that's needed is for you to see a bit of sense.
For me to see a bit of sense? You still think it's my fault I'm in the wrong?
I didn't mean it to sound like that.
Oh, didn't you? So we can make it up provided it's unconditional surrender on my part. Well, I'm sorry, Len. You didn't marry a pathetic little specimen who'll say yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full to your every command. If you'd have wanted that, you should have married one of them. There's plenty of them around, but I'm not one of them. I've got a mind of my own, and I'm not going to be frightened to speak it now or ever. And if we hit another patch where I think something should be done, I shall do it.
Even if I don't want it?
Dead right. I've been my own boss too long.
Aye. Perhaps you have.
Very nice. To meet you.
Similar.
No. You'll have to do better than that, kid.
Pardon? Well, you see, he only speaks in single words. And if you do the same, you're not going to get on very well, are you? Still, I suppose other things apart from conversation.
Pets! Hey, you didn't tell me you lived in Aladdin's cave.
Come again.
All this booze.
It's an off-licence.
I can see that. Works in a pub, lives in an off-licence. How do you stop sober?
I drink a lot of milk.
Does you a lot of good and all. Are you both in digs here?
I am. She's the landlady.
Eric, old mate, you know what you've landed, don't you? A woman of property.
Fancy.
See what I mean? I am mortgaged up to the hilt.
Listen, you've got your own business. I think that's very enterprising. It's more than we've got, right, Eric?
Right.
What do you do for a living?
Scaffolding.
Fascinating. I have warned you.
We erect scaffolding.
Anyway, I'm more interested in where we're going tonight.
A club, where else?
Oh, great.
One snag.
Always is.
It's a bit early for a club, so I was wondering, why don't we have a drink or 3 here?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, we'll pay for what we drink.
No, don't be daft. It's not that.
She doesn't trust us, Eric.
Shame.
Oh, come on, Reen. It's just a couple. And they're right, it is a bit early.
I don't know.
Come on, lads. It's cosier in back. But remember, it's just a couple. So don't be thinking you're going to get your feet under the table or anywhere else for that matter.
What is she talking about, Eric?
No idea.
Oh, do be careful, Cap. You'll be overdoing it.
I think we've fallen on our feet here, mate. Know what I mean?
Emily, love, if you really want to see this play...
Oh, yes, I do. Oh, I do enjoy a good play. They seem to have so few on these days.
I don't see much television, you know, with working here. Black and white minstrels. They were my Cyril's favourites.
Yes, they are very watchable.
Yeah.
But I like a good drama I can really lose myself in. Something with a beginning, a middle, and an end.
And no sex, please. We're British.
not a prude, Ken. I certainly don't approve of all this gratuitous... Well, I don't, but human emotions are a part of life. It would be unrealistic if they weren't portrayed.
Somewhat good, is it?
Well, it's highly recommended in the Sunday papers.
Oh, well, I think I'll go home and watch it myself. I could do with a good laugh.
Oh, I don't think it's a comedy.
So, I'll settle for a good cry.
Go with her. Draw the curtains. Hold her hand and watch Goggle Box. You can't go on acting like a pair of kids, a pair of you.
I took your advice at dinner time, Alf. It didn't do me any good then. I can't see it doing me any good now.
So you're not going with her?
Can I have the same again, Betty, please?
Not for me, then. Thanks, Sam. Come on.
So am I. Ta-ra. Jim.
Lager and lime, please, when you've a minute.
What be said?
Buy clothes and everything.
Good evening, Mr. Barlow.
Oh, hello, Councillor Tattersall. I understood you were coming to see me this afternoon.
Well, I didn't need to. I had a very interesting chat with Mr. Tatlock instead. He's your uncle, isn't he?
Just about, yes. What sort of interesting chat?
You know, it seems to me there's some very odd goings-on down at that community centre, Mr. Barlow. I mean, Mrs. Sharple's living in the flat, rent-free, nominally the caretaker, but in point of fact, not doing a hand.
Yes, well, she only just come out of
hospital. Yes, I know, very sad. But she was hardly a working caretaker before that, was she?
Oh, Mr. Tatlock helps her out, that's no secret. The work gets done.
You know what it looks like to me, Mr. Barlow?
Tell me.
It looks like to me as if you've got a local mafia group here.
What?
Everything very cosily sewn up between you. You work across there. Your uncle does. Mrs. Sharple's living under...
ridiculous.
Hmm? Ridiculous, am I? Well, we'll see. When one of you gets marching orders.
Well, he's saying this place ought to be occupied by a full-time caretaker.
What are you saying to him?
Well, the work gets done, doesn't it? Caretaking, I mean, even if you don't do it yourself personally. And anyway, if we move you away from here, we've still got to put you up somewhere else. So where's the saving?
Sounds like common sense to me, though councils aren't usually blessed with common sense.
Well, you can't expect me as a councillor to agree with you there, can you?
It's true, isn't it? If it weren't, you'd have stopped them new flats in Liverpool Road from being smashed to smithereens. How much of the ratepayers' brass would you have saved if you'd done that? Millions. But I've been expecting something like this to happen. I don't want to leave here. But I've been expecting some jumped-up jacking office coming sniffing round sooner or later.
Oh, it's one thing on top of another, isn't it, Mrs. Sharples? First your accident, and now worrying if you're going to have to lose your home. But don't worry. I'm sure Alf and Len are more than a match for... What's his name again?
Councillor Tattersall.
I'm more than a match for him on all. I always was for that sort in the past. I'm not going to do lally yet, you know, Emily Bishop.
Oh, I never for one moment suggested you had, Mrs. Sharples. I mean, it's quite obvious you haven't. It's just that you're not getting any younger. Well, none of us are. And perhaps not quite as... I'm positive you're more than a match for him, Mrs. Sharples.
Well, I'm not so sure. He's a nasty piece of work, is Jim Tattersall.
And he called us the Mafia. Just because we're trying to make sure that an old lady has a home in a street where she's lived most of her life, where her friends are and where she's happy.
That is diabolical, that is.
And he cast doubts on my legitimacy as well.
Do you mean he called you a...
No, he just said I only held down my job because of nepotism.
Hey?
Friends in high places. Actually, I believe a few strings were pulled by Alf.
There's only one way to deal with this geezer. That's to frighten us. Me and me mates bump into him one dark night, accidentally on purpose. And just before we cut his ears off, we whisper how if he doesn't stop hounding Mrs. Sharples, he'll end up stretched from one end of the M6 to the other, because he would if he was strapped to the back wheel of a juggernaut.
Yeah, I do believe you mean it.
I do.
Lager, please, love. What have you got there, then? Nothing. And how long has all dolled up been putting nothing into plastic bags?
All that? Oh, it's just a little cheap blouse I've bought. I mean, I haven't a decent one to wear, have I?
I can think of at least 6 decent ones offhand that you've got. And the only thing cheap at all dolled up is Stella Roebuck. I know, because I went to school with her.
Well, she's always been very nice with me.
You think you're going to pinch Les off me, don't you?
Don't be silly.
Well, you've no chance. My ear's still red raw from where he nibbled it last night.
And what do you think Eric was doing to my ear?
All right, so long as we know where we stand. Les is mine, Eric's yours, right?
Right. Now then, we've got this little matter cleared up. What time are we going to this party?
Well, I thought we'd get there about 9-ish. We don't want to seem too eager.
Leave about 7:30 then.
How long will it take to get sashing on the line?
About an hour. Then you've got to get through it front of your guard, you know.
Right, 7:30. Did you want that lager?
Well, I did, but I think I'll go home now and try my blouse on. Stella Roebuck seems to think it'll look a knockout. Not to mention sexy.
For the last time, if there's any comebacks, I'll take the blame.
Oh, yeah, but, I mean, do you think it's wise? Look, isn't it like adding fuel to the flames?
We're entitled to an hour or two off on Wednesday afternoon. Besides, all the shops in Weatherfield are shut.
Yes, but, I mean, we're a cafe as well, supplying a service.
Not this afternoon. We're going to Manchester for a couple of hours. It's not a crime.
Well, I think you're just doing it to spite Mr. Fairclough himself.
Nothing at all.
Well, you're being very silly if you are.
I am not doing it to spite him.
Look, don't you think you've carried this silly feud on long enough?
Not a feud. I did nothing wrong. He behaved like a pig.
Oh, no, you only invited the son of your boyfriend.
Why don't you say ex-lover? That's what you wanted to say, isn't it? Can't you say lover?
Yes.
Well, go on. Say it.
Lover. Anyway, as I was saying, you had him stopping here in Mr. Fairclough's house without even bothering to ask him.
It's half my house. I married Fairclough April 20th. I'm Mrs. Fairclough. I shouldn't have to ask.
Oh, Rita.
Oh, Rita what?
Well, marriage is give and take, or it should be.
So you want me to give him?
Oh, yes. I mean, would it be so terrible?
Why don't he give him?
Because he thinks you're in the wrong.
I think he's in the wrong.
So it's stalemate, is it? Oh, look, Rita, why don't you be the generous one? I mean, somebody's got to back down sometime. It'll go on forever and you don't want that, do you? Oh, please, Rita. It upsets me to see you falling out with Mr. Fairclough, and so soon, too. I mean, well, I'd got such great hopes for this marriage. I mean, two mature people.
Do you know what I think?
What?
I think that's just what Fairclough's hoping for. That I'll back down, give in. Well, he's got another thing coming. Oh, come on, it's going to be too late to get to Manchester.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Cheers.
Why didn't you bring one for yourself?
Oh, I had a couple of pints in the Rovers. It's top whack for me dinner time now.
It doesn't mean you can't afford one, does it?
Oh, no, I'm dead flush at the moment. Dead flush. Councillor Tattersall hasn't shown up yet, then.
Where's he going to?
Well, Ken Barlow said he could.
What's to you if he does come?
I'd just like to be here.
Why?
Well, if I'm sitting in the corner, all 15 stone of me, it'll remind him to watch his manners, won't it? And encourage him to have a bit of respect for an old lady. Especially if I scowl at him. I once put a policeman on the sick list just by scowling at him, you know. Well, it was dark and I did have a nylon stocking over my head.
So, you see, you want to be a kind of bodyguard, is that it?
All the best people have 'em, Mrs. Sharples, and some of the worst.
Ah, yes, but they can't look after themselves and I can.
Oh, I won't lay a finger on him, honest. Well, not on the premises.
That's right, because you're not going to be on the premises, even if your heart is in the right place.
Oh, Mrs. Sharples.
Be a good lad and go and see who that is, will you?
Yeah, sure.
Fella here says he's Councillor Tattersall, but he's got no means of identification except an out-of-date driving licence and a ticket to a club that I happen to know has topless waitresses.
All right, Eddie, that's enough of that. Thank you for the drink, but I think Councillor Tattersall wants to have a word with me in private.
Shall I just sit in the corner? I won't scowl too much.
Good afternoon.
Well, I'll be next door if you want me in the centre.
Sit down. Sorry I can't offer you a drink. My friend only brought me the one. Well, what can I do for you?
It'll save me and yourself a lot of trouble.
Oh, and how can I do that?
Now, this is nothing personal, you understand. I'm only doing my job, what I was elected for.
And what would that be?
Well, for one thing, to see that council property is put to effective and proper use.
On what council property were you referring to?
Oh, I think you know, Mrs. Sharples. This place, this flat.
Oh, I see. So you think it's being put to improper use, do you? Well, I can assure you that it is not. I live here by myself. I'm quite respectable. At my age, I couldn't very well be anything else. I keep it clean. I don't keep any coal in the bath. I don't keep 5 or 6 cats. In fact, I don't keep a cat at all.
Don't tell me you were a comedian, Mrs. Sharples.
I didn't know I was.
Well, the point is, as well you've no right here. This is purpose-built accommodation, and the purpose is to provide a home for the community centre caretaker.
Well, that's what I am.
Only in name. Ken Barlow and the kids do most of the caretaking. As well you're not even paid for it.
Yes, but my deputy, Albert Tatlock, is paid.
Well, I don't know why. If you do nothing, he does less than nothing.
That's not true. Between us, we do a great deal of work, including keeping those kids you mentioned earlier in some sort of order.
Look, you're not an official caretaker, as well you know.
So what do you propose to do about it?
Get you out. Now, look, I'm only doing my duty.
I see. So throwing an old woman out onto the streets is your idea of duty, is it?
Oh, we'll find you somewhere else, an old folks' flat or bungalow.
Over the other side of town?
Oh, possibly.
I'm supposed to now refuse to budge.
Well, there's always the bailiffs.
Those chaps don't frighten me.
Have you ever had any dealings with them? Well, you don't know what you're talking about, do you, Mrs. Sharples?
Well?
What?
What do you think?
Hey, is that new?
Oh, you know very well it is.
Well, I've seen worse.
Oh, you're wrong. You took all my confidence away.
I'm only kidding, you're miss. It's smashing, kid. You're gonna knock Eric sideways. And notice I said Eric, not Les.
Yeah, I heard. Oh, you don't look so bad yourself.
I know. And if I say so myself, I look sensational. And having looked like this for a number of years, why is it then I'm still single?
Well, it's because men only make passes at girls who look gorgeous.
Do you know, it's very good, that, and very true. Did you make it up yourself?
Half of it.
Oh. Hey, I'm looking forward to tonight, kid, are you?
Yeah, I am. As a matter of fact, I get on quite well with Eric, really.
And the rest?
How do you mean?
Never mind. I like Les, too. He's a bit fly, but that's just his machismo showing.
What?
Don't you know anything? That's his virility, his maleness.
Well, I can't say I've noticed.
No. Anyway, come on, kid. We don't want to be late and find a couple of scrubbers in store when we get there.
We'll soon see them off.
Do you reckon?
No danger. I feel irresistible tonight. As a matter of fact, I feel very sorry for Eric, you know. I wonder whether he's up to it or not.
We'll just have to see.
There they go. Looks like we're on, mate. It's like taking toffees from a babby.
Thank you. So nice tonight, kid.
Keep away from the door for now, there's no blind. And try not to knock hotels over.
How much a week do you spend on drink?
And what business is that of yours?
Well, I never see you without a glass in your hand.
What's up, Albert? You spent your pension already?
Damn near.
Well, you want to do what Charlie Mason, or Alfred's old friend, used to do. While he had brass in his pocket, he never was sober. But as soon as it had gone, he used to turn religious, march up and down the street singing hymns with a placard that said under new management.
Well, I don't see what you've got to smile at. Not from what I've heard.
Oh, who have you been talking to?
Well, I can, for one. You know, I knew that Tattersall fellow were up to something when I met him in Corner shop yesterday, and he never stopped asking questions.
About me?
Well, Aunt Santa.
And I'll bet you weren't backward at coming forward either.
I said no.
Oh, that'll be the day you've got a mouth bigger than a crocodile. Anyhow, if you're worried about me, you've no need to bother, because Alf Roberts has got my interests at heart. Mind you, he's not the sort of fellow I'd ride behind on a tandem who's a bit of a wet end, but he'll do his best.
Buckle Butty, that's what he wants.
Have you ever given anybody a knuckle butty?
Of course I have.
Just shows you know the different kinds of life we lead.
It's all a question of diet, Ernest. You see, Eddie here eats raw meat, don't you?
Any other sauce?
Hey, Len, what's Alf doing about Enid, you know?
Oh, he's having a word with a few of the social services committee. He's going to get to them before Tattersall does.
Good, I hope he does.
I didn't know they liked folks in the scruff to come in here at night. I reckon it knows the tone myself.
Are you talking to me?
Oh, it's you. Do you know, I thought it was some passing bum. Hey, when I said play it cool, mate, I didn't mean leave home.
It's her that's flipping left home, isn't it? Well, she might just as well have done. I mean, she's been out shopping all afternoon, nothing to eat when I come back at night.
You know what all that's about, don't you?
Well, you're going to tell me anyway. Go on.
Yeah, she's having a last fling before she capitulates.
You reckon?
Definitely. It's all happening just like I told you. Now have a drink. 2 pints, please, Betty.
Len? Are you up there? Len? He's not in.
Perhaps he's working late.
Aye, at Rovers, if you can call propping up a bar working.
Now, Rita, remember what you said.
I am doing my best to keep my temper, honest.
Then why's your neck gone all red? Your neck always goes red when you lose your temper.
It does not.
Yes, it does. When your neck goes red, then I know to keep out of your way.
How come you notice things about me nobody else does?
Oh, perhaps because I'm very observant.
Well, stop being so observant. There's things folk don't want to know about themselves. They're happier in ignorance, especially when you talk about their necks going scarlet.
Oh, I said red. Well, it's pale pink, actually. Sorry.
To prove I meant what I said, I am going to assume that Len is working, and I'm going to make him a lovely tea with these prawns I've bought him, and I'm going to give him every chance to make it up between us, providing he's back in next hour.
Rita, you'll not regret it. It's better to live like 2 lovebirds than cat and dog.
2 souls with but a single thought.
Yeah.
2 hearts that beat as one.
Beautiful.
Do you know, maybe you'd have been better off singing in heavenly choir, you know, of this world.
That's very true.
78, this must be 76, yeah?
76. 74.
Oh, one right.
Hey! It's boarded up.
Evening.
Oh, hello. Working rather late, aren't you?
Yeah, well, it's the only way we can keep up in summer. People get thirsty. Do you know, I've known us delivering well midnight, especially last year. Still, it's good for business.
It must be.
Great.
I'm sure nothing will come of it, Mrs. Sharples. He's all wind and water, that fella. You know me, I'm a good student of human nature.
Oh, we shall have to see about that, won't we?
You don't seem very worried yourself.
Of course I'm worried. You're not much good as a student of human nature.
Hey, look who's just come in.
Who's that?
Tattersall.
Well, of all the flipping cheek, that's rubbing it in, that is. He's coming here to curl his lip. That is definitely aggravation. Well, I'll straighten it for
You stay here, sit with you.
Lager and lime, please.
Half for a pint.
No, just a half. Moderation in most things, that's my motto.
Yeah.
Hello then, Len. Private meeting, is it? I dare say you have a lot of these around here, do you? Private meetings.
And what was that then, Jim?
You were all right, Len. The one thing you're not is deaf.
Oh, no, I'm not deaf. I just didn't get the drift.
Well, he got the drift all right, didn't you, Mr. Barlow?
Yeah, you're suggesting we're having a meeting of the local mafia, are you?
If the cap fits.
You can be an objectionable sod when you want to be, can't you, Jim?
Then, Len, remember that you're a public figure. Your pub fighting days should be over.
Don't bank on it, James.
Well, I'm not a public figure. And I tell you this.
Don't get involved,
Look, somebody's got to get involved, Emily. Look, I tell you this. If Ina has to leave her home because of you, you're going to have me to answer to, and I mean that.
Hey, didn't know you agreed with fisticuffs, eh?
There's always a first time for everything, Eddie.
Look, Mr. Tattersall, don't you think it'd be better if you left, you know, before there's any trouble? You don't need to pay for your drink.
I'm going to pay for it and drink it. I came in here for a quiet glass of beer. It's them that's causing the trouble, not me.
I think he came in here deliberately to provoke us.
Of course he did, Ken. Don't argue with him, just hit him.
I came in here to see Mrs. Sharples. I believe this is her second home.
You're not going to let him get away with that, are you, Mrs. Sharples?
I've been insulted before today, Eddie Yates. You stay where you are.
He's only telling the truth.
You can say what the hell you like about us, but one more crack about her.
Now, that's enough, Len.
Yeah, leave him, Len. He's not worth it.
You've been warned.
And you've been warned, and all fair cloth.
Lay another finger on me and I'll have you in court as well as drummed out of the council.
Don't be ridiculous, you ridiculous little man.
Ernest.
We'll see who's ridiculous in a few days' time when that woman's turned out in the street, because that's how it's going to be. I've lodged a formal complaint with the appropriate official. He has to make inquiries. He's got no alternative. And we all know what he'll find, don't we? He'll find that Mrs. Sharples has as much right in that flat as a pair of donkeys. I reckon she'll be out in a month at the latest.
Rubbish.
Hey?
You heard me, Jim. I said rubbish.
It's not rubbish, as well you know.
All I know is I've just been down to a meeting of the Social Services Committee. And very interesting I found it, too.
Yes, well, next time it'll be more interesting when they discuss Ina Sharples.
Well, they won't be discussing her, will they? At least they won't if you're as canny as I think you are, Jim.
Yeah, they will. Nothing sure, as well you know.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just the meeting I found so interesting tonight. It was more the private talks I had with the one or two of the members afterwards. Friends of yours. At least I thought they were.
What private talks?
Well, I'll tell you. If you'll listen. They all more or less said the same thing. Of course, you know why he wants the old lady out of the flat, don't you? Because his niece has put him for the job as caretaker. That's why. Now, that were them talking. Is that right, Jim? Typical. Has she put him for the job as caretaker?
No, she hasn't. There's a bloody slander.
Oh. Well, you won't mind me making a few inquiries, then, will you?
Well, if she has done, I don't know anything about it.
Changing your story already, eh?
Kick him in the edge, Alf!
Look, I've only been doing what I were elected for. It's got nothing to do with my niece.
Now, do you really think folk are going to believe that, Jim? Look, you're hounding an old lady out of her home. And the very next day, your niece is moving in. Now, do you think folk are going to think you're just doing your duty? Or aren't they more likely to think you're just looking after your own?
Yeah, and he had the nerve to call us a mafia.
Well, Jim?
You've not heard the last of this, Alf. I make a bad enemy.
Do you hear that, Mrs. Sharples? Alf Roberts has given Councillor Tattis all the bum's rush.
Well, I always knew he would. I had complete faith in him.
Hypocrite.
Where do you think you've been?
I've been to Rovers.
Oh, well, I'd never have guessed in a million years.
Well, where else do you expect me to go? I come home to an empty house and no flipping tea.
What do you think that is? Pattern on plate.
I wasn't there at tea time.
They've been there 2 hours. Them prawns are getting an inferiority complex, wondering why nobody's bothering to eat them.
Are they prawns? I like prawns.
Do you?
You know I do.
I know you're a pig.
So it's special, is it?
So it's special, is it? Why do fellas think they look appealing when they act like little lads, when in fact they look puddled?
Well, even so, can I,
That's what it's there for.
No bread. Oh, they're scrumptious. They melt in your mouth.
You got a salad cream all over your chin.
Have you got hanky?
Here.
Down. Where were you then?
Have me tea with Mavis?
Prawns.
No,
So you saved them all for me?
that's what you want to think.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
What for?
Well, I could have been a bit more, I don't suppose it would have done any harm to let Terry stay for a couple of days?
No. I should have asked you about that. After all, Terry's nothing to do with you.
No. Do you want one?
Just one. Lovely.
Rita,
What?
can I ask you something?
Yeah?
What's for pudding?
You'd be surprised.
Oh, 3 hours either on buses or waiting for him. We could have been across the Atlantic with an aeroplane by now.
I think I should underline is across the Atlantic, and I still say we've been stood up.
I don't know. I still think you got the address wrong.
We've not only been stood up, Renee, we've been robbed.
Oh, my God.
You know who's robbed us, don't you? Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.